Hello, I'm Martin Brock and I'm your instructor for this class. Today we're going to be talking about how to prepare for the law enforcement interview. Now I know some of you are already in law enforcement. However, I'm sure you want to advance in rank and advance in your career, so you will always have interviews during that process. And I know many of you in this class are hoping to enter criminal justice and law enforcement specifically. So today I'm going to talk about the key points on how you can prepare for a law enforcement interview. Now, as I have told you, my full-time job is I'm the Chief of Police for the North Carolina General Assembly. So I have sat in on several law enforcement interviews, conducting them with applicants in the various stages of my career. And I have also been interviewed for each step in the rank as I move through the ranks to become Chief of Police. What to do? Make sure you know where you're going and you have the correct directions. Too many times applicants get lost, get stuck in traffic, and show up late for an interview. And that is not the way you want to start an interview. This second one is extremely important. Research where you are applying. Don't just say you want a job. You need to know the size of the department. In previous chapters, we have discussed mission statements, goals, and purposes. You need to know where you're applying and give a reason why you want to work at that specific agency or department. Next, we should look sharp, dress professional, and select a conservative suit. You don't want any outlandish clothes or jewelry. A dark blue or black suit, whether male or female, is ideal for the law enforcement profession. Next thing you should do is prepare and practice answering difficult questions. You know you can expect questions like, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Prepare sharp, honest answers for those questions, and they will come across sincere and truthful because they will be. The next thing, you should relax, be confident, courteous, and respectful. Remember, you are trying to convince a panel of people to hire you. What you shouldn't do, never use police jargon in an oral interview. Different agencies and municipalities have different TIN codes, and some police jargon from yesterday is considered slang in today's professional environment. Number two, never interrupt the interviewers. Again, they will be your prospective supervisors, bosses, and they don't want to see that you may be a problem employee, so be respectful at all times. Never talk negative about a former employer, co-workers, or supervisors. Now, we've all had bad experiences, but there is a respectful way to talk about unfortunate circumstances. Remember, always be professional and positive. Again, you're trying to convince people that you would be a positive employee and a long-term good employee with their agency. Never be afraid that you don't know the right answer, especially if you're new to the criminal justice field. You're not expected to know everything. That's why there is a police academy. That's why there's a FTO process. As a college instructor, I'm continually not only teaching classes, but going to classes as a student, because we never know everything, so don't be afraid to admit it. The next thing I want to make sure is that you never make up answers to questions. If you're not sure, say that. And a great answer, if you don't know the question, is to say, I do not know the answer to that question. However, I would follow whatever the department's policy is in that situation. Questions. What are some questions that you can expect in any law enforcement beginning or promotional interview? A panel is often going to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself. Be prepared to say, you know, I'm married, I'm single, I have family, I have kids, I'm interested in criminal justice because my hobbies are. People want to know a little bit about who they're looking at when they're trying to select and narrow down and determine who would be the best applicant for their agency. Why do you want to be a police officer? Prepare for that question. And don't just say, I've always wanted to be a police officer, because most of us have. What are your personal strengths and weaknesses? This is a question almost asked in any interview. The idea here is to be sincere about your strengths and weaknesses and try to turn your weakness into a positive. If you know you have a weakness, such as procrastinating, say, I realize that I procrastinate and I am working on improving that. You're going to be asked about your alcohol consumption and drug history. Do you drink? If so, how much? You're also going to be asked, what's your history in using illegal drugs? Be honest, because down the road you will have to take a lie detector test, and many of past use will not disqualify you as long as it's not a felony and you are upfront about it. Are you an honest and loyal person? Make sure you know how to answer that question as well. What's your employment history? Are you willing to work nights, weekends, and holidays? And make sure you answer number 7 truthfully. Many times applicants tell us they're willing to work nights, weekends, and holidays, only to complain when they have to work Christmas, New Year's, anniversaries, and birthdays. That is a reality in law enforcement. You have to work rotating shifts, and as a new officer, you're going to be expected to work on holidays and important anniversaries and other occasions. Why are you applying with this department? What do you know about this department? Again, do your research. If an agency sees that you've applied to 20 different locations, they're going to want to know that if they hire you, you're not immediately going to go somewhere else, because oftentimes it can take $10,000 or $20,000 to train and outfit a new officer. The next thing that I want you to make sure you understand is NCGS 15A 401 and 401D2. This is the North Carolina statute that authorizes use of force during arrest and use of deadly force. Now, in the police academy, you will go over this statute many times. You will go over this in SCAT, defensive tactics, intermediate weapons, crowd control, and firearms. So make sure you know the answer to when you're authorized to use force and deadly force in the performance of your duty. And finally, you're going to be given some scenario and ethical questions. Again, use of force is very important. So you're going to be asked, when are you authorized to use force or deadly force? And when should that force stop? You're going to be asked judgment questions. I'll give you an example. You're on patrol and you see a female lying in a pool of blood and a man or a subject running from her with some type of object in his hand. What would you do? Young cadets or officers may say give chase or try to arrest the individual. That is the incorrect answer. The correct answer was to get a description out over the radio, because you can always apprehend the possible perpetrator later and render aid to the victim. Immediate aid to the victim just may save the victim's life. And finally, you're going to be asked some type of ethical dilemmas. An example, you're a new officer with your field training officer, and you pull a car, and during the vehicle stop, you suspect drugs are in the car, so you search the vehicle and uncover drugs. While you uncover drugs, you see your partner slip a $100 bill into his pocket that was found in the floorboard of the vehicle. What would you do? So you can expect use of force, judgment, and ethical dilemmas, scenario questions when you go to a law enforcement interview. So prepare for them. Conclusion. I hope you've enjoyed this lecture on how to prepare for the law enforcement interview. I've tried to give you the main points to help you be successful. Thank you.